The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Degenerative diseases and being a henchman don't mix so well, especially when trying to redeem yourself to your family. Amber and Scott discuss this and more after watching Absolution. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
I will find you, and I will kill you if I can remember you.
Why are we here today? Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay, so this episode we are talking about Absolution. An aging gangster attempts to reconnect with his children and rectify the mistakes in his past, but the criminal underworld won't loosen their grip willingly. That is a terrible description for this movie.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, so our film today is about a gangster who is pretty much kind of like a bodyguard for the punk kid of a bigger gangster. And he has been doing this work for 30 years, and he's starting to get a little forgetful.
Oh, he's taking too many shots to the head. He's got CTE.
Yeah, he is a former boxer who was apparently really good. And yeah, too many hits to the head has left him with a rapidly dwindling memory. And he's still able to do his job, but he has to write notes and he forgets people's names and how to get places. But, you know, he's still kicking butt as a gangster bodyguard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if somebody's swinging at you, you don't need to remember a whole lot at that point.
Yeah. So he has two adult kids, and they are estranged. And when he gets this diagnosis, he calls his daughter and then inquires about his son, and learns that his son had died 2 years earlier, but no one told him because they think he's a piece of garbage dad and they don't really have a relationship with him. Well, obviously the son doesn't have a relationship with anyone at this point. And he is coming to realize that this is a problem. And fast forward to the end of the film, he goes to his gangster. Oh, someone tries to take him out. They accidentally kill a priest in the crossfire, and he realized someone put a hit on him. And he comes to realize that it was the son, the gangster son that he was protecting, who
Felt disrespected.
Yeah, felt disrespected and put the hit out on him. And in the process of learning this, he had been going to his boss, wanted a loan to help his daughter get into a new place, and he gets fired, and at the same moment realizes that the punk kid put the hit out on him. So long story short, bang, 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 grabs a bag of money, and then tries to do some good in the world, tries to free a prostitute that he had met, who he wound up transporting a truck full of women to a whorehouse, and tries to buy the freedom of one of them, but she got roughed up that night and dies, and leaves $40,000 for his daughter to buy a house, and then gets shot and kind of drifts off to bye-bye, Never Neverland. The end.
Yes,
So I have to say, I think the primary theme of this film for me was really just being frightened of aging.
Well, again, so, I mean, I exist in and around the world of sports, so CTE is definitely not something I am new to. And that's the thing with CTE, is that's not an aging thing at all. That's your brain has been beat up so much that it stops working earlier than it should. It essentially is more beat up than the rest of your body. So, I mean, in a way, it's an aging thing, but it's like a massively accelerated aging thing for your brain.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm not. That doesn't bother me as much anymore. I just when it first started happening, I thought it was aging, but now that you actually say that, yeah, I guess I kind of was forgetting that very important fact that it was from his boxing history. But regardless of what the reason was, losing your memory and, heaven forbid, being around anyone who is not understanding of that fact, that's definitely a tough situation.
Yeah, no, trust me. I I get it. I mean, certainly we all forget things, right, April?
Yes, Stephen. So,
Ask
what,
Dave.
what would I do if I was a gangster who was starting to, the part of it is that description doesn't do it good because it makes it seem like he was trying to get out, which he wasn't. I mean, that was his job. He was happy doing it. He
was trying to make amends because he realized that his brain was going away and he wasn't going to be cognizant for much longer.
Yes.
He clearly planned to take his life, but he wanted to.
Oh, I don't think he.
I mean,
Once upon a time.
Yeah, he put a pistol in his mouth.
Yeah.
But he wanted to do something good for the people in his life that he'd screwed over to that point. So
yeah, that's
do some
true.
good before you're gone.
I think that's something a lot of folks can identify with is if you actually know the end is near, the end is coming, your decline is imminent, it does give you time to clean house and to make amends and to right wrongs and have conversations and fix or at least address the things that you got wrong in life. And that, I think, is a gift, regardless of why you have that opportunity, to have that opportunity, to have that gift of time and knowledge, I think is something, there's a lot to be said for that.
It's definitely a gift to a point. I mean, obviously, finding out that you're going to die or be completely incapacitated a lot earlier than you were planning on, that's not a gift. But knowing a time frame, I suppose, gives you a chance to, like, okay, I've effed some stuff up. Let's see how much we can fix before I'm gone.
Yeah, and it also, the other part of the film that makes you think a little bit is, at what point do you forgive people? And at what point do you hold grudges? I'm a great grudge holder. So I'm certainly not coming from a point of just open loving and forgiveness or anything of that nature. But if someone's passing or someone's declining or whatnot, it makes you have, well, at least I think it should to some degree, have an honest conversation with yourself of, how much am I willing to hang on to? How much am I willing to let go of? And what can I live with when it's over?
Yeah, and that's the thing. People, like, so often you might have issues with people when they're alive, but once they're dead, like, you're out of options. Like, you can't make amends. There's no making of amends. And so that's why, well, for one, it's always good to leave on good terms, because you never know when your interaction with someone could be your last. But yeah, also, I forgot what I was going to say. That's really sad. I mean, apropos as hell, but very sad.
Wow, you are really committed to this this movie and this review in this episode, aren't you?
Yeah, committed. Yeah, that's the
You're
ticket.
like a method podcaster here.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
It's interesting when you have opportunities in life to recommit to how you feel. And when you've had an argument or a falling out with someone, or someone has done you wrong, and for whatever reason, this person comes back into your life, and you have another chance to either double down with how you think, how you feel, or to have a change of mind. And I am certainly not saying one is better than the other, or one is right and one is wrong, because we are all individuals and stories are complicated, and individuals and people are unique characters. But it is an opportunity to reassess how you feel about things. I had something similar come up with my dad many years ago, and I had made a decision about my dad. And
your dad's a complete piece of shit.
That's true.
Sorry.
And I was perfectly fine saying, yeah, you don't deserve a place in my life. And many years later, probably, I don't know, well over 10, 12 years later or something, I was presented with an opportunity to reassess if I wanted to double down on how I felt, or if I wanted to give someone a second chance. And I was quite comfortable doubling down. So
Well, especially based on kind of what we know about him now, it's like, oh no, he never changed. He's still every bit the piece of shit he was before.
Yeah. So it's interesting when life presents you with those opportunities, because sometimes time heals wounds. Sometimes you're able to let things go. Sometimes you understand circumstances or facts differently over time. And sometimes things are just as they are. And when life presents you with those opportunities, like the character Daisy had with her dad, realizing that he wanted to reconnect with her family, and she opened the door a little bit to talk to him, but she wasn't willing to go much beyond that. When he invited her out to dinner and she didn't show, but she was willing to open up the door a little bit of saying, I will acknowledge that you exist in my space and I will have a brief but uncomplicated conversation with you.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, it sounds like that was probably right about what he deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, his character was not a good character. He was not a nice person.
He wasn't likable. Yeah, and it did trouble me when he did turn on the gal who had actually been really kind to him and helped him and been there for him, and I think was a good companion of sorts. And then ultimately, when she tries to help, he pretty much just starts to put his hand back like he's going to slap her or hit her or something, and she leaves.
In fairness, though, that level of rage and craziness actually is a symptom of CTE. Really, he was
also a guy that made a living for 30 years about, punching and hitting people. He wasn't the greatest guy to begin with, but for any wrestling fans out there, Chris Benoit, I mean, he was known for being a family man, loved his kid to death, but dude took a lot of shots to the head and ended up basically snapping and murdering his family and killing himself. And when they examined his brain, it was mush. He had super advanced CTE at that point, and it's just one of the things that can happen. So it's a scary thing. I mean, when you lose your brain, that kind of controls, everything. It's interesting because you actually bring a knowledge of CTE into the movie, which I think gave you a different perspective on this, because I didn't know that, and I thought just that's who he is as his character, as a boxer, as a gangster, and you see it in that different light with that knowledge of CTE. So I think it's really interesting how we look at any circumstances and we bring our own backstory and experience to it and how we perceive and explain it.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't understand or don't know what the actual underlying circumstances are on something, why something went the way it did, and sometimes it's important to know those things. So, yeah, CTE is rough. It's really rough because there's no cure for it. There's nothing you can really do about it. You just need to not take a bunch of freaking blows to the head when you're younger.
Yeah, so what would I do if I was the main character of this film? I would probably take better care of my noggin if I had the hindsight to go back and do things over. And if I didn't, if I was just dumped in his shoes in the middle of the movie like he was, I would follow that same path of trying to reconnect with family and say goodbyes and do a little good in this world before I passed.
Yeah, I'd make amends, and then I'd put a pistol in my mouth.
Oh, well, you don't have to go that way.
Well, you don't do it right away. You wait for it to advance a little bit, like to the point that you know that you're about to really not be there anymore.
Or you could just go to Oregon and do something a little bit more sane.
A metaphorical pistol in your mouth.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to joke about that.
I wasn't completely joking, but yes, listen, when you hit that point, when you know, because again, there's no reversal. Once you get to the point that you no longer can care for yourself, like you've gone over that hump of quality of life, and it will only get worse from there. And you know me, I'm a big quality of life person.
I think it also too brings up the thought for me of having a care plan, because you never know what life is going to present you with, and having documents, having conversations, having understandings of what you want, because there might come a time that you're no longer able to articulate what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Or a court says you don't know what you want, so we're not going to listen to you. And then it starts telling you what you get instead of being able to execute what you want.
Yeah, something random happens, you go into a coma, you can't speak for yourself. I mean, that is important, is to have some form of a care plan, something that's on file legally that explains what your wishes are. So, I mean, if nothing else, that is, whether it's CTE or something random or whatever. And I mean, even within a relationship, it's good to have a conversation. I know it's not a fun conversation, but it's good to have a conversation with your significant other so that they know, because people don't like to talk about death. Nobody likes to talk about death. Death sucks. But let me tell you, it is pretty much one of the guarantees here in life. So either talk about it or leave your loved ones guessing. And I don't like that latter one.
Yeah, there's so much that can be assumed of someone, as two siblings. I mean, like, oh no, dad wanted to be cremated. No, I think dad would want to be buried. And then you're stuck in a situation where you just don't know what someone wants. And that's definitely never a fun situation to be in.
Freaking ask dad what he wants.
Yeah, have those conversations with your loved ones, with your children, with your parents, with everyone, because it's actually really important. Okay, this episode was kind of a downer.
Yeah, we kind of went, we went full Debbie Downer on this one. So.
Take care of your noggin and wear headgear.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.